What's going on, Go Radio, Go TV? This is your boy TK. First of all, I'd like to say it's a privilege, a blessing to be here. My first interview ever with Go Radio, so I appreciate the opportunity. Local artist in Houston, holy hip hop, Christian gospel, however you want to label it. It's music from the heart. Trying to make some moves out here, so I'm in the building right now.
Already. How long you been in the game, man? How long you been doing ministry?
About 10, 11 years, since I was like 14 years old. Started out at St. Agnes over off Airport in South Acres, Reverend Gene Moore. Shouts out to Gene Moore Jr., Power of Life, all that. I moved around a little bit, found the praise, a lot of the smaller churches. Just out here doing what I can, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make some networking opportunities, meet some people, get a little bit more in depth into the Christian community of hip hop out here.
Already, you know the crew in LOC?
Of course, I'm a member of the crew in LOC.
All right, so you know Val Keys and all them, huh?
Everybody, Dexter Utley.
They're my boys, they're my frat brothers too. That Val is my frat brother, yeah. So I know all them cats, went to school with them, man. Yeah. So it's definitely a blessing to have you here, man, talking to you a little bit about what's going on and the whole nine to move and all that, man. You say you've been in 10 years in the ministry. And what made you do hip hop on this level, man?
My mom.
Mom?
You know what I mean? Just at an early age, she put that yearning to have a relationship with God in me. So I couldn't drift away from my roots. She put that in me, but I love the hip hop. So like I said, I came up listening to Kirk Franklin and Tupac and Biggie and Nas and Jay-Z, CeeLo, John P. Key, Fred Hammond. So I had like a blend of these two cultures. So I was saturated with nothing but music. So, you know, in my moments of joy and despair, I took the ability that I had and wrote music, but it was always reflected upon the mindset of a believer in Christ. So everything is, you know, I won't spit 100 scriptures, but everything is going to come from the mindset of if I follow this discipline. Yeah.
When you think about your music as a whole, you know, what you've done over a 10-year period, what would you say is the primary concern or message, or has it evolved, or what's your main focus when you go out and you minister?
For us, just to understand the ability that we have as human beings to influence, to affect change, to make a difference. You know, a lot of times we'll sit back and we'll say, well, it's a mess up situation, but we always have the ability to do something about it. Simple example is in our community we have trash, and you know, in the hood it's a lot of litter, bottles, trash everywhere. But as a community, we can come together to change this. And I believe, or I feel, that it starts in the church, because the church should be the example. It's a standard that we should set and go into the community and do something, make a difference. My whole message is just like love, peace. I'm kind of like a hip hop hippie, you know, no drama, no beef, and wisdom. Just grow up, be mature, and accept the change and the charge that God has put on us. You know, it's not easy to walk that path, but once you accept that God is in control, the load is lifted. You know what I mean? It's not as difficult, and then you don't condemn yourself when you make mistakes. You just understand it's all a process, but God gets the glory from it. So that's where I'm at with it. God gets the glory from my life, and I want people to know that based off the situation I was born into, I should have been a pimp, a drug addict, a killer, something to that degree. I was born in a situation where my dad was a drug addict. So at an early age, I saw domestic violence, drug abuse, being left at crack houses, all this kind of stuff. However, God is so merciful that even at a small age, I was able to discern and learn and identify and say, well, this is not the path I want to go down. So what the devil meant for my bad, the Lord used it for my good. So now I encourage other people, you know, let's let's not deviate from the path that God has called us to be on.
That's real, man. You said an important word earlier. You said, you know, music that bring about change. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand that every single day of our life we change. Right. You know what I'm saying? Every minute we change. Right. That's why you wake up in the morning, you got a pimple on your face. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't have it last night, but you got it today. Right. You know what I'm saying? You changed. Or your tooth hurting. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever case may be, man. Every day of our life we changing. And that's what our music does. You know what I'm saying? It brings about a positive change. And folks think, oh man, you know, they ain't got to listen to it or that, but they still bring about a change with negative music. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I love so much of why we do what we do. You know what I'm saying? And keeping the positive things going, because we want people's lives to change for the positive and impact that. So
I mean, it's a lot. It's a major degree of responsibility, but it's something that I would gladly take upon. I'm sure any believer who really truly believes that the Lord died for them, they would take on their responsibility to be different, because, you know, it's nothing for us to, how can I say this? If Jesus came down in the flesh and took on sin, then we should be able to take it off. Really, you know what I mean? How can God take sin on? Like, by nature, God should not be able to do that, but God did that for us. So as human beings, we should naturally be able to go to a higher level, because He's given us the opportunity to. A lot of musicians, athletes, people in the public eye, they refuse to take responsibility for the leadership role that they naturally have because of who they are. You know, anybody can say, well, it's not my responsibility, but the truth is, Lil Wayne has a strong influence on a lot of these kids and their parents do. You know, Jay has a lot more influence. He had more influence on me than my mom did. Jay could say something and I'm gonna do it. Pac could have told me something, I was gonna do it. And once the artists start taking responsibility for what's going on, things will change. The music now is more, what used to be on the CD is now on the radio constantly. You know, it was a certain time where things that you wanted to protect your children from, they didn't have access, so they couldn't listen to the radio and say, well, I want to listen to birthday sex. Yeah, I'm going to have to throw some names out there. You know, because to me that's kind of, that's absurd to have that on the radio. And I know it's not the artist's fault, because they just doing what they can to make their money. It's really the industry, and it's designed to keep us enslaved mentally. You know, we should be making music talking like the OJ's, Family Reunion, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. We don't write about that. And hip-hop is nothing but a transition from jazz to blues to hip-hop, but we are still the same people, so we should still be making the same music. You know, they kind of pimping us, and we letting them do it. So, back to the initial point, as artists, it's our responsibility to cause that effect. And that's what I'm determined to do, and that's why I roll with people like Testimony, you know, Go Radio, Go TV, Roscoe. I felt blessed to be here while he was here, because that's somebody I seen growing up. It's 10 years later, and I probably haven't seen him since the first time I seen him. You know, and just to listen to him speak on marriage and relationship and the reality, because there are two worlds here. This is really like the Matrix. You have the Matrix, then you have the real world. Some people never get out the real world. I mean, out of the Matrix, you know. I'm trying to live in the real world where I don't sleep with every girl in the world. I sleep, you know, I sleep with my wife. I take care of my kids. I leave an inheritance. That's the real world for me. Some people's reality is different, but I want to be where God is, so that's what I choose to do.
That's real talk, man. Real talk, and that's what, you know, words of wisdom from a young man. You know, so that's real that you got the wisdom at a young age. You know what I'm saying? You what, you 26 now, you say?
26 Saturday.
26 is a Saturday, you know, and you've been doing this 10 years since you was 16, so, you know, I thank God for grabbing you at such a young age, so you ain't got to go through what some of us went through in our 20s, you know what I'm saying, trying to be out there, trying to live the life that's not pleasing to God, you know. And I'm not saying you didn't go through your own, you know, times and periods and the whole nine, but you know, being at that age and knowing what you want to do for Christ, you know, it says a lot. You know, it says a lot about that. So